Hi guys, in this tutorial I'm going to show you a simple Python script which will allow me to connect to data.gov.sg, specifically to the real-time taxi availability API, and allow me to get the JSON information from their servers through a simple little Python script. This could be used in many different applications like graphing, analysis, or anything that you could think of. So first head over to the data.gov.sg website and click the developers tab. On this website we need to get an API key. Without an API key, the data and the information is not accessible. Click developers portal. Here are all the available real-time APIs. We're going to be using taxi availability. So this information is refreshed every 30 seconds. It provides the coordinates of the taxi, gives information like the total number of taxis available at that specific time. You can also go back and get historical data. In this tutorial I'm just going to be showing you guys how to get the information at the current time. So go ahead and log in up here if you haven't already. Register if you don't have an account, and click My Apps. And then create an app, and then follow the instructions, name the app whatever you want, and after you create the app you'll get something that looks like this, and what you want is the consumer key, and you can go ahead and copy that. This is the API key. This is mandatory if you want to be able to access the information. So I'm just going to put this in Sublime, and if you go to the page you can actually run a request on the taxi availability page, but this takes a while, so sometimes this can take a while, so I loaded this up already, and you can see here this is all the information you get. So these are the coordinates of every individual green taxi in Singapore, and the list goes on, and at the bottom you see the total number of taxis and the timestamp. So in this tutorial I won't be showing you guys how to parse the specific information, but you could add a couple lines of code in order to say that you specifically want this value, or you specifically want the coordinates only, and this could make the process a lot simpler for you. But in this example I'll be showing you how to get all this information without using the web interface. So let's start writing our code. So I'm using Sublime. Any text editor will work. I'm going to save this as taxi.py. So first we have to import our modules, and the modules that we'll be using are requests and JSON. So request will allow us to use an HTTP request, get specifically a GET request with the given URL and the headers, and return the JSON and print the JSON in the command line essentially. So let's import our modules first, and we're going to import JSON. Now let's define our URL. So the URL is given at the top here. So this is the URL we will be using. Copy that and paste that in there. And by using this URL we will be getting information at the specific time. And then we have to define the headers now. So we'll make a variable called headers. And now we are essentially doing this part. We're giving the parameters to the header. So it's called API key, and this is the value, the consumer key, which is given here. So let's go API.key, that's the name of the header, and then paste in here the consumer key. So that is our header. And now for the actual request, we'll call it data. That's the information we're getting in, and we're gonna call the request, it's get, and we're gonna use this URL defined above along with the headers which we defined above, and we want to get JSON returned. So now we can print our data, and this is it. This is all we need to write in order to get exactly what we see on this page here. So we can go and open up terminal, and I save this file to my desktop. So wherever you saved it to, go to that directory. So I'm going to cd to my desktop. Now I'm going to run this. So Python taxi demo and enter. So loading, and here we go. So this is much faster than if you were to do it on the web. Here are all the latitude and longitude coordinate pairs of each taxi, and then you can see on the very bottom you can see the taxi count, the API info, so it's healthy, the time we requested it, and let's say we wanted to get specific information about a specific time. It wouldn't be much harder than what we already have here. Simply we just change the URL. So the way that we could do this is by, at the end here, adding an extra query parameter. So we're going to add a question mark, date and time, and we're going to make that equal to, let's say, 2016 December 1st, and the time, let's say the time, we'll say at noon. And then we save this, and now if we run this, we'll be getting this exact information we got above, but at the 1st of December at noon. So you see here, this is the time where we got the information, so it's a little bit off, but it's very, very close. And here was the taxi count at that time. Here are all the coordinate pairs. So this could be used for some sort of data analysis or graphing or whatever you want to use it for. That's how you would add a query. But like here, using a specific date and time is optional, and it's not required. If you leave this out, then it would just be at the current time. Now let's say you wanted to get a specific value from the JSON. Well, what you could do is parse that specific value out of this massive JSON data set. So let's define a variable here called taxi count. So let's try to get the specific taxi count. By looking at this data here, or even looking at here, you can see the structure of the data. So by going through the structure here, we can attempt to get the specific taxi value without printing out the coordinates and everything. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to go into the data, and first it's features. So we just copy that. Features, and then after features, 0, and then properties. So scroll all the way down here. You can see properties is another layer in the tree. So that's what we want to paste in here. Properties, and then within inside of properties we want the taxi count value. So then add one more taxi count. So now instead of printing the entire data, entire JSON request, we've filtered it down to simply just being the taxi count. So we can go ahead and print taxi count, which we defined. So now if I run this, So go ahead and clear this, and if I run this, this is the taxi count. So we could do taxi count. We could make there are and then we'd close. So now we just cleaned it up a bit. And there are 2,673 taxis available at this time. So in this example, in this tutorial, it's a simple example of how to write a Python script in order to get the JSON data from data.gov's taxi availability real-time API, which could be used in various applications. Thanks for watching.